second. Is that possible? Mm. Won't be too long, guys. Just got to set up my other camera. It's looking good. Alright, so I think we're okay. Alright, let's do a countdown. Alright. Okay. Let's turn down the background music. I'll plug in my phone for a little bit to keep the battery charged. Oh, actually, I have to try the lapel mic, so. How about now? Much better. Okay, just turn on the timer. Check if there's any feedback. Feedback? Damn, looks good to me. Let's grab my pens and pencils. Gonna need the old mechanical pen. Definitely gonna need a ruler. I think that's all I need. Alright. I'm going to move the camera over a little bit. Okay. So that's the first camera, the main camera. Now let's switch to, so you guys can see me as well. Add to stream. There you go. And let's do it like this. Much better. Yeah? Am I going to be comfortable like this as the camera? Oh, a little bit. It's pretty good. How about the audio levels? Can you guys hear me properly? Awesome. I've got some music in the background from YouTube Stream Library, which is anyone's able to use. And for the first time, I'm going to try my lapel mic and see how that goes. It is a Pixel, no, it's a USB-C compatible lapel mic. So, and I'm going to try it for the first time and see how it goes. All right. Yeah, tried a little bit of a different setup today. It's so I'm standing. I'm gonna use a bigger work area. I'm not making a sketch card today for this piece of art. It is going to be a poster that's around, yeah, A3 size, let's say, huh? And it is of the Hulk. Got a lot of nuts everywhere. Interesting. Oh, got a lot of nuts. Well, at least I got a lot of length on this. And I have seen people put it underneath their shirts. I haven't plugged it in, so you guys, trust me, you won't hear anything. So, there's the lapel mic. I'm going to put it onto my shirt. See if this works pretty good or not. Man, it's pretty stiff, eh? Ah, there you go. Okay, I'm gonna plug it in. See how it sounds. Gotta plug it into my good old Pixel 2 camera. My Pixel 2 phone. What about now? Can you guys hear me okay? Are the levels good? I'm gonna put my headphones on. I'm gonna double check if it's loud enough. Sound check 1, 2. Oh yes, I can definitely hear myself. And I can hear the music as well. Badass. Alright guys, so let's get into it. This stream will be no longer than, so roughly 1 hour. So I have already done this drawing onto a sketch card size, but now I'm wanting to make it into poster size, which is an A3 image. So this is an A3. My reference image is on my iPad, and it's of my sketch card. So it's going to be like that. Yeah, cool. So I'm going to put it here on my tripod. I'm going to use that as my reference image. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so that's done. I'm going to push you guys a little bit back. Yeah, like that. Maybe yeah, push it down. You can see my coffee and my chocolate cake I've been eating, taking little bits of. Okay, what about like that? I think that's pretty cool. Man, I'm excited to use my lapel mic. It's awesome. What else? Okay, so usually I start with this pencil, but at this time I think I'm also going to use some colored pencils. Yeah, that I'm gonna get from my closet. Just 1 second. It's awesome how this lapel mic has so much range, a lot of cable. And use some colored pencils as guidelines. Okay. All right. And then over the top for the second phase, we'll use some graphite pencils to clean the lines up. So I already know that I'm going to, of course, be using orange because it's the Hulk. Maybe let's put some light on there. Is that better? Yeah. Yeah, there you go. And I'll probably be using purple for his pants, and I think that's it. Everything else should be good. Any other undertones I should use, you reckon? Maybe I'll use that. All right. How's it looking? Good. All right. Oh, and I also want to create a border for this poster. And I reckon that's something I'm going to do right now. So I got my trusty ruler here. Good. Sip of coffee. And I think it should be, I reckon, what do I reckon? Maybe, that's inches. I reckon 2 centimeters in. It's a good place to start. Let me just sketch that out. With my sketch cards and posters, I love to create a little bit of design besides just the artwork to add to the composition. And of course, my rule is not going to be long enough, so I'll make another point. Like a that. Yeah. So I'm just going to quickly add some points. 2 centimeters, did I say, right? 30. There we go. And this poster is for it's for a little kid, and it's for my fiance's nephew, and he absolutely loves the Hulk. And so it's not going to be absolutely detailed, and which is good because how I work, my current work process is such a way that I can keep coming back and keep adding detail at the later stage. So what I mean by that is first step, which is what we're going to do now, is lay down the pencils. So we're thinking of shapes, composition, making the proportions correct before we move forward onto anything else. Second step, flat colors. Third step, highlights and details. And that's about it. And I don't want it to be any more complicated than that because it shouldn't be. And I like to keep my drawing fun. I really like the Hulk as a character. He looks cool. There we go. Okay, so we're adding some lines. So this is the border, huh? It's happening. Okay. Nice. I'll add a third point here as well. I wonder how long it's going to take for me to get sick of this playlist from YouTube. Free music. Oh, a little bit off. Nice. Okay. How about this one? Sorry, just kick the tripod. Didn't mean to kick you guys. It's about right. Oh, it's about half a millimeter off there. Damn it. Definitely millimeter off. Much better. Well, yeah, that's how I want the border to look like. Nice. All right. So the composition, I'm going to keep it simple. The black will be the figure itself. That'll be the inks. The background, I'm going to keep white with this nice texture. This is watercolor graphite. Watercolor paper stock at 300 GSM. So it's quite thick and there's a nice texture to it. What else? Oh, that could be an issue actually. Yeah. I might just rip this off for a sec. Yeah, I'll take that off. That creates some uneven surfaces. No, I don't want. Okay, good. All right. Okay, I'm gonna have a little bit of my chocolate cake. Okay, so with the green pencil, start adding some shapes. I'm going to use green because it's going to be easier to rub out. It's going to go with the color palette anyway. So when penciling, as I said, the foundations is super important. So first of all, I want to break it down into shapes, negative areas, and making sure I have my proportions correct. Some people like to use the grid method and make grids, which is good as well. If you want to be exact. But I reckon I can get that exact proportions by creating shapes, segmenting the areas of the composition, by allocating where I am in the border and also of the page. For example, I know the head is going to hit here and it's positioned in the middle. Alright, so put it there. Okay, I'm going to move this lamp. Turn this around. Just make sure you guys get better lighting. Okay, like that. And about, so this is the halfway line. About about here is where there will be like a rock, and halfway from here the rock hits about like that, and Hulk will have his foot on it, so I'll make an arrow for that. And let's go the other rock, which will be a little bit in the background. It's around about here and comes up to about there. And Hulk's foot is around about here. It goes about like that. And that creates a nice line here. Creates a nice line there. Okay, so foot placement. Pretty happy with that. Hulk's head is quite small in proportion to his body. So I reckon it's like about... He does have his jaw. He's kind of shouting, so I reckon he's like about that size. About like that. And so like a third way down of this border here, or the right hand border, I reckon is where his wrist touches the border, and it creates a good orientation point for his shoulder and arm. So right now, yeah, I'm going to block out the shape of the Hulk in relation to where the border is and where the corners are. So his right shoulder comes down, and it's almost further than a third way down of this border on the left hand side. So I'm just going to indicate that. He's got huge trapezoid muscles, huge delts, pretty big triceps, and it comes around about here. So, and let's see where we are. So his hand is very big and it's not making a fist. It's kind of like an open hand that looks like it's about to either make a fist or about to grab onto something. So I reckon it starts around about here, and his forearm and hand, or his forearm, go past the page. It's about like this. And let's do that with his left hand as well. So it goes past, his hand goes past the page, not the actual forearm. So I reckon it's like about like this. And where his wrist hits the border is where you can establish the hand. So yeah, that's the block of the hand. That's the forearm muscle, let's say, and everything else is foreshortened. Good. Right. Okay, so let's try and conquer this area here. So let's create like a center line. Goes like this. And I reckon the middle of the page and a little bit down is his crutch. So I'm just going to indicate that a little bit. And from here to here is his left lateral thigh and groin. And it kind of creates a line like this. So let's establish that. Let's finish off this area. So we said that this is his foot. Let's say we create a line here. Let's say that's his foot, left hand foot. From the crutch and his knee is a little almost at the same height, but just his left knee is a little bit higher. Well, no, it's about the same height. And in relation to the hand, there's about that much space. So let's create something like that. The crutch should go something like this. Therefore, his outer thigh, his outer left thigh leg is like this. And that looks correct. This negative area looks exactly like my reference image. Alright, happy with that. So let's establish this negative area and this area here. I think I could establish this much quicker. Right, so his hand in relation to the knee, his right knee is like around about here. And the crutch creates this kind of line. From the crutch to the heel of his foot creates that kind of line. So if this is his knee, this kind of shape is then created, which therefore the foreshortening of his calf muscle is like this. Right, okay, then his outer calf muscle is like this. And let's establish that line as well. So I've got all this area which I have not established. So let's take the rotation. His mouth, jaw is here, right? And his, the top of his pec where it meets the deltoid, that kind of goes like this. It's very developed, right? And therefore, the front face of his, okay, wait, let me establish this. This is a nice curve here, right? So therefore, his pant line happens around here, and that coincides with the thumb, his right hand thumb. And he does have a little bit of a twist, so it happens like this. Good. And there's about a centimeter of negative space. The rest, damn, is bicep. And his, I reckon it goes like that. Alright, so I kind of got a shape going here. I will start to define these shapes in a darker pencil for you guys to see, so it's a little bit clearer. What else do I need to define? Let's do the hands, because that's a little bit concerning. Okay. So what I say, his pant line is in the same area of his thumb knuckle, like this. and it creates something like that. So that's his thumb, right? And then just a little bit lower than the middle part of the page is where his hand, his palm and his hand knuckles finish. And what's left are his fingers. Create that kind of shape. Huge hand, huge forehand, huge forearm, huge hand. Okay, so I've established his right hand. Good. Left. So this is the thumb. I reckon around about here is the thumb. That's another finger. Kind of goes, it creates kind of like, yeah, maybe this shape, yep. This kind of shape is this kind of shape is created. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, and the fourth finger's up there. It's coming along. Maybe I can show you guys. Can you guys see that? That's what I got so far. And this is just blocking out shapes, making sure the proportions are correct. When you're looking at your page, make sure you're looking at flat, like from top down, not any angles. That's going to skew your proportioning and your judgment. Yeah, what else? What else? Well, let me just move this cable out of the way. It's irking me. Alright, good. So let's grab this color. Let's define more of his pant area before we do any graphite work. So if this here is his knee, and his pant line where it starts to rip happens like this. Good, and then this nice curve happens here because he's bulging, he's tensing his left quad muscles. And yes, so it creates a nice line like this. Therefore it creates a nice bulge of his outer quadriceps. I think that's right? Quadriceps, that's the right terminology. That group of muscles. Right, then so we go here, and then it goes, this nice curve happens like that, and then the ripping happens like this, just a little bit over his knee, and we have a hint of his glute behind, and then the outer right quadriceps on his right leg. The pant line, as I said, happens a little bit down, and then it curves up. Good. So I don't want to touch anything, any details inside. I just want to segregate these lines, segregate the shapes, establish the right proportions. And then what I do, even before I hit the graphite stage, I might have a look at it for like 30 minutes. Just leave it, go have a break for 30 minutes, and then look at it again with fresh eyes. And here you will see any mistakes, any things Any proportions that look strange. Anything that looks off, you will see with new eyes when you come back to it. Or you could also do the technique of looking into it with the reflection of a mirror. You know, you could always say, you need to take a picture of it and then flip it on your camera if you have like a quick editing app. Yeah, you can just actually lift this image up, go to your bathroom and just look at it as a reflection in the bathroom. And then you can see the imbalances of your composition, how where one side has more weight than the other, which looks kind of strange. And this technique is very good for portraiture, you know. Alright, so what else can I establish? Let's double check these lines. Alright, so I think I'm okay. Let's just go through. The back of his head is here. His head's slightly tilted forward, so it happens dead center. His head is smaller than his body, intentionally, proportionally. His mouth is going to be wide open, screaming. So his left deltoid that meets with his pectoral muscle happens around about here. It goes like that. So we can establish that. This negative area kind of follows this line, rounding off his deltoid muscle, creating the shoulders and the back of his shoulders like this. And as I said, this arm is a little foreshortened because he's tensing it, he's bending it, and it happens like this. So his bicep, massive bicep, goes like this. And the rest here is his forearms, which goes like that. There's a hint of his triceps that kind of blend into his forearms. Pretty much when you draw the Hulk, he's like a 12-foot, 10-foot midget, or the PC term, small person. Yeah, his proportions are super exaggerated, as in they're very squashed. Okay, good. So let's finish off his deltoid. His front deltoid happens like this, which means the trapezoid muscles on the left-hand side happens like that. And we can create another curve here to segregate the two, the front deltoid to the middle, and then there's a hint of the back deltoid there. And that's the group of muscles that create his shoulder. So what about his pectorals? So his pectorals and also the center line, of course, is like this, but it twists and curves into something like this. It goes like that, which is very cool, very exaggerated. And so we established that this is his pectoral, maybe like that. So you'll only have pretty much this much space, which is abdominal, obliques, which are all crunched, all compounded. Very good. So that's his abdominals there. His middle abdominals, that's squashed. Everything else is compressed into his lower abdominals. His nipple would be around here. The neckline, the top of his pectoral would be here. Pretty much he has no neck. Let's be honest, the Hulk has no neck. You know? So that's his left side done. What else? We got... Let's establish his right pectoral muscle. Yeah. If you can look, it runs a line with his bicep, so you could use that as a guide and create something like that. Good. And create something like this and round it off to meet the top of his bicep. Maybe like that for his delt. Let's finish his abdominal area. Goes off like this. Everything else is in shadow because the light source is coming from the very top down, creating a lot of shadow under here. So it's more like front, top, or a little bit our right top down. What else? Oh, this huge abdominal happens like this. Therefore, this one is starts to squash and we get the tightening. That makes sense. That looks good. We have the obliques happening here that kind of round off, middle obliques, and I guess it would be something like this. Yeah, that makes sense. And then that meets with a nice curve of his bicep. It's over 45 minutes already, guys. So this camera has 5% battery left. It's hooked up to my lapel mic, so it's not charging at all. So that means we've only got a couple of minutes together left. But I think we've done a lot of good work. We've established some good lines. As I said, I will give it 15, 30 minutes before I keep going with it, just to make sure I get the right proportioning down. But here we go. Let's finish off this area. I'll be happy then. There's a nice curved line that happens here, which his massive development of his trapezoid muscle on his right side. That meets up with his right cheek, about like this. That runs to his deltoid muscle, and that happens a nice curve like this with his pectoral. So it kind of looks like that. A nice curve. Creates a nice circular silhouette. Oh, one other thing I noticed with his forearm, this massive curve happening right here. It's easy to establish. Therefore, his tricep happens like this, and there's a nice curve of his bicep. We've firmly established that. Good. Let's section off his deltoid. Let's see what's happening. So the tendon here of his trapezoid, his collarbones. That was a hard one. Started on that. So front deltoid like this. Middle deltoid like that. And we get a lot of the back deltoid, shoulder muscle happening like this. Good. So this is his thumb. Therefore, that's the start of his wrist. Therefore, his forearm muscles happen like this and twist. And that's the rest of his forearm done. There we go. So that's the torso of the Hulk, shoulders, arms and hands all portioned off, created nice lines, good shapes, and I think that's it. All right, it's 1% on my battery and I'm gonna say goodbye. I'll catch you guys with some nice lines.